Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to make an opening statement. When I left Washington last Thursday, hardly anyone had seen the Republican tax plan. And one holiday weekend later, we are now here marking up the most consequential tax policy in 31 years, with no hearings, not a single hearing on the legislation. Mr. Chairman, America needs tax reform. I joined the Finance Committee because I believe that. We haven't reformed our tax code since I was in college with a Smith Corona typewriter. Our economy has transformed since then, but our tax code remains frozen in the past. We should clean up special interest loopholes. We should help our businesses compete in a global economy. We need comprehensive and bipartisan reform. But in a break with the tradition, the committee has made no serious attempt to bring both sides together. Instead, the majority wrote a deeply flawed proposal that adds $1.5 trillion to our debt. In 2014, a Republican member of this committee wrote, quote, "It doesn't take a mathematician to see we are sitting on a ticking time bomb of debt." Another said, "Our nation's growing debt is costing us jobs and economic growth today, and it is an unfair burden to pass on to our children and grandchildren." I agree, and I think it's important in this context to review how we arrived at this point. In 2000, President Clinton left a $5.6 trillion projected surplus to his successor. At that time, Congress held hearings about how to invest in our future and pay down our debt. Some members of the Senate were here for that. Then President Bush, on the same arguments that we're hearing today, signed two major tax cuts, one of which was after we invaded Iraq, and prosecuted two wars without paying for them. Then he signed Medicare Part D without paying for that. A number of people voted with President Bush on all of those steps who are still here today. When President Obama came to office in 2009, he inherited a collapsing economy and a $1.2 trillion annual deficit. Then, amidst the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, a lot of Republican leaders all of a sudden remembered their fiscal conservatism, citing the debt. Nearly all of them opposed the economic recovery package to stabilize our economy and save millions from unemployment. Over the next 8 years, despite bipartisan efforts to rein in the debt, leadership consistently rejected a balanced approach. And as a result, rather than confront our fiscal challenges, Washington has taken the easy path by cutting investments in our future, in education, research, innovation, and infrastructure, while at the same time burdening our future with trillions more in debt. This should seem deeply unfair to Americans in their 20s and younger to know that we are investing less in them than our parents and grandparents invested in us. And then we have the nerve to say, you need to pay back the debt that we accrued investing in ourselves. For years, Republican members of this committee have raised alarms about our debt. I believe they are sincere, but I struggle to comprehend how they can square that view and support this plan. As our debt grows, we will spend billions more, not on schools, roads, or innovation, but on interest costs. And we're about to blow another hole in the debt without helping the middle class, which is what makes it even worse. By 2019, the Senate plan would actually raise taxes on 19.4 million households earning under $200,000, while providing no benefit to nearly 54 million households. On top of that, we know that when deficits swell, as they surely will, cuts to Medicaid and Medicare are sure to follow, further burdening working families struggling to make ends meet. That is not what the American people want. We need to stop this and write a bill that's worthy of this committee. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to take a few additional seconds.
Thank you, Senator Bennet. Senator